right. As our buddy Will from Aura texted us earlier, the irony. The Padres get back to 500 for the first time since May 11th and are eliminated the same night from playoff contention. Marlins overcome a 3-run deficit in Pittsburgh, really out of nowhere, to beat the Pirates, and the Padres will not go to the postseason in 2023. So the disappointment is setting in as the Padres get to 80-80 with a victory in Chicago. They hold on for a 3-2 win, 2 games to play. All they're really playing for is their final record right now. Again, 80-80. So a lot to get into. Gabe Kapler's firing in San Francisco. What impact does that have on Melvin and the Padres? What moves could the Padres make as soon as Monday? So as you make your way in, as we always tell you, please subscribe. In season, out of season, we have exclusive year-round Padres content for you. You can smash the like button for us. Please follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. You can enter to win this cap I'm wearing from Parks and Normal, by the way, by clicking the link in the description down below or clicking the link that is pinned at the top of the live chat. We appreciate the supers on this Friday night. We really do. As the season nears its conclusion, if there's anything you want to get off your chest, click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to every single super chat here tonight. If you want to become a member, we appreciate that as well. Click join down below. But, Jim, it is setting in. They were trying to do something that was almost impossible. The Marlins overcome that deficit and win 4-3, and the Padres have been eliminated from playoff contention in 2023.
It's also ironic because you know who was in the middle of that Marlins comeback tonight?
I don't, dude. I have no idea. I was at a dinner. I have no idea. Josh Bell?
Old friend Josh Bell.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Josh Bell, he had I believe a big, where is it? Marlins. Yeah, Josh Bell had 2 RBIs tonight.
Oh, wow.
So he had a huge 2 RBI double that cut the lead to 3-2, and then Jake Berger tied the game up with a single.
And they took the 4-3 lead, and then they held on.
It did. It's like it's finally over. We don't have to have any type of false hope. I don't have to come on here and try to be like, well, if they do this, right? No, it's done. It's officially done. And I don't care if they win the next 2 games to get to 82-80. It does not matter. This season was the most disappointing season in Padres history, period. That's it, period. If you told me at the beginning of the year this team was going to win 82 games, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. You kidding me? No way.
Mm-hmm.
If they won 80, if you told me they won 82 games and there's still 2 games left, they could still lose them both or whatever. Who cares? But just missing the postseason, I'd be like, something had to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like not just injuries, but like team-wide injuries to the point where you're seeing lineups at the end of the year with a bunch of no names. And you're like, you got Manny, Bogarts, Soto, and Tatis all sitting on the bench somewhere. Now, kind of happened a little bit with the pitching. But I'm not using that as an excuse. There is no excuse here. You can't use excuses for this season. You used up all your excuses as a franchise in 2021. I'm sorry. And then when you have a trip to the NLCS, you can't, and then you spend $250 million, you can't have an excuse. You have to take it on the chin. You have to make changes, because if you do not, then you are doomed to fail in the future. There's no way in hell that you can tell me that this season is just going to be like, we'll run it back next year. There has to be consequences. There has to be. No question about it. If there's not, then you're not a serious franchise.
Well, remember, Kevin Acee reported as recently as 48 hours ago that the expectation was both would return. Okay. No, Peter Seidler's preference was for both to return. Now, right. You would assume there'll be a meeting on Monday. At this point, it's final. The season is over. And we'll see what comes out of that on Monday. And does anything change now that the Giants have parted ways with Gabe Kapler? Bob Melvin played for the Giants, is from the Bay Area, managed in the Bay Area with Oakland, and also, who is it? Farhan Zaidi was with the A's when Bob Melvin was with the A's. So it's at least a wrinkle. It's something to discuss. Kevin Acee kind of, I don't know, downplayed it. I think when we asked about it today on John and Jim, we both think it's a possibility that Bob Melvin, with 1 year left on his deal, if he wanted to, could put his foot down and potentially make his way to the Bay Area to join the Giants if the Giants had interest and if Melvin had interest as well. Let's get to some of these supers that are rolling in. Again, if you're here, please subscribe. You're on content for you guys. Padres win, but they lose because they're not going to the postseason, unfortunately, in 2023. So that kind of fiasco is beginning to set in. 80-80 out of the postseason. What happens next? Please subscribe. Thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. JD Gacho, thank you for your longtime support of this channel. He says too little, too late, which is literally what happened and very predictable. Jim had talked about it a lot. Once they were basically with their, basically when they had no chance of making the postseason is when they started playing well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. I mean, they literally, Jim, probably could have closed 16-0 and not made it because they're still. I mean, they'd probably still be like a game out, if they would have closed 16-0 because they're 12.
They still would have been in it, but
well, they're even in it now. Spicy Mayo said we had a good September, played 500 baseball.
I'm waiting for that stupid fucking excuse to come out. Like I'm waiting for that excuse. I'm going to create a bingo card of potential excuses that we'll hear from this team.
Right.
One of them being we played really well in September and we think we figured some things out and hopefully we carry that over to next year.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Anybody tells you that?
Well, Melvin was saying it tonight. I heard the entire thing driving home.
I didn't hear a like bring it to next year.
Oh yeah, Melvin said it. He said hopefully what we've done here the last couple of weeks is, we can bring with us into our offseason into next year.
I thought he just said offseason. I don't think he said absolutely next year.
Well, I mean, you think they're just going to bring it to their offseason?
Well, I think there's a little difference. You can just bring it in the offseason and you feel okay about not okay, but you get, anybody that tells you that they're going to use this.
Well, he probably said that because he doesn't know if he's going to be back.
Right. If anybody says that this is potential momentum for next year, stop. They went to the NLCS last year. That. They should have started off like the hottest team in baseball.
I want to say Joe Musgrove was quoted as saying that today to Kevin Acee.
What did he say?
I'm going to find it. Yeah, losing a year like this in our prime is disappointing. We're not getting any younger, Xander Bogaerts said. This was one of our prime years, Bogaerts said.
Yeah, you wasted a Cy Young season. You wasted I'm not gonna say wasted a closer with a 1.13 ERA, but
yep.
I mean, because he was also a huge part of the problem. You wasted a Juan Soto season, even though I still contend that his numbers weren't as impactful as they might look on paper. I mean, because up until September 1st, when they were 11 games under 500, and they needed this run to just get back to 500 on the second to last day of the season. What he did in August, that is what I'll remember more than what he did in September. And what he did in August was completely no show.
Who are you talking about?
Juan Soto.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Here's a quote from Musgrove to Kevin today. The idea that we do have this 4 or 5 more years to really capitalize in some sense is comforting, knowing that we've been through some of the worst times that we're going to go through as a group. Hopefully we're coming out on the other side of that, better prepared for what's coming. I guess that's not really saying, hey, we're finishing strong. They're basically all just saying you can't waste a prime year.
Yeah.
And that's true. And like Xander Bogaerts in year 1 of 11-year deal saying we're not getting any younger.
And he didn't have a good season.
No. In the end, it's a lot of paper tiger type season. It's not going to look awful. If someone just looked at it randomly, they'd never know the struggles that he had this year. They'd have no idea. If you look at it in 2 years, nobody ever, unless you're a Padres fan that watched this, there's nobody that's going to look at that on Baseball Reference in Philadelphia in 2 years and be like, man, Xander Bogaerts really struggled in 2023, because it won't look like that.
Right.
But he did. If you watched
I saw
it.
something on social media compare Xander Bogaerts' season to Trey Turner's season. And Xander had comparable numbers. I think Trey beat him in all power numbers and RBIs, and home runs. But I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, and I didn't know, granted, I didn't watch all of Trey Turner's season either. So I can't really, I don't think I can compare.
For a while.
It was horrible for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really bad for him.
First half of the year, at least, and beyond that.
But what I will say is, anybody that tells you that Xander Bogaerts had a really good season, or is trying to say that Xander Bogaerts is a top shortstop in baseball, and that, everyone that's saying that Xander had a bad year, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, actually, you don't know what you're talking about if you think he had a good year. Like, look at his season. You weren't watching these games. The Xander Bogaerts came up in clutch moment after clutch moment, and he failed majority of the time. He had a really good September to make his stats look, like you said, John,
pretty good,
pretty good,
or half decent. Yeah,
that's not a good season. And when you do it, when you're 11 games under 500, fighting your ass off to get to some sort of respectable ending to a fucking shit season, I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, he also, by the way, tonight was hit on the wrist and thumb, but stayed in the game. We'll see if he plays the last 2 days or not.
Like, and anybody, and look, is anybody thinking about how much time Manny's going to miss next season to start?
I don't think he's going to miss time, Jim. My guess is he might miss time in the field. It's Manny Machado, dude. They can't take him off the field with like a legit elbow ligament tear. I'd be surprised. Wouldn't you? With October, November, December, January, February, March, you got 6 full months. I don't know. I'd be surprised if he wasn't in there for the home opener. That's my guess. Wouldn't you? Would you? You think it's more likely or less likely that he plays on opening day at Petco Park? Like more than that's above a 50-50 proposition or below a 50-50? For me, it's got to be above. This is Manny Machado.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
on this
me
one.
Too.
I will. I think he'll be out there. Now,
I don't know about Correa.
Will he be playing third base?
I don't think so.
I don't know, but I think he'll be the DH out there. Yeah. And like I said, I give him the benefit of the doubt when it comes to injuries, because no matter
6
what,
months.
He plays through it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, assuming he has surgery next week, he legitimately has 6 months. Okay, Korea, March 20th, maybe that's tricky, maybe not. It's 2 games. Nobody's going to go freak out.
No.
But hopefully he's available when they play the Giants. Who's going to be managing the Giants? Who's going to be on the Giants? Blake Snell, Bob Melvin, others, Shohei Ohtani. It'll be interesting. Brady, thank you. He says, so who's getting fired on Monday? It's not only about that, because what if Bob Melvin wants to walk away with this vacancy in San Francisco? There are other vacancies. Look around baseball with what's going on. I read them today on John and Jim. There could be 5-6 vacancies, and half decent ones, by the way. Houston, possibly. Dusty Baker in a walk year. Milwaukee, possibly. Council in a walk year. We'll see about New York with Showalter. We know about San Francisco. We'll see about San Diego. I mean, there's going to be vacancies. But what if it's not about who gets fired, and what if someone walks away? Like, can Bob Melvin walk away at the end of this year, get out of that final year of his deal, and end up elsewhere and or retire? I think anything's possible heading into Monday related to both Bob Melvin and AJ Preller.
Yeah, I do too. I think with the question of who's getting fired on Monday,
I don't know.
Man, that's the thing, dude. I hear Kevin today, and I'm like, damn, they're both coming back. I hear Dennis yesterday with Darren. I'm like, there's no way both of them are coming back.
I know.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And you hear the one thing that is known is that Bob and AJ just are, there's a problem. It's a problem. I mean, I've contested all along.
I agree.
Like, look, you get 9 years on the job, and you have failed 7 of the 9 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're on your 4th manager. Now, technically it's 4, but really it's 3.
3 real full-time managers.
Pat Murphy was just like an interim. So you're on your third manager, potentially going on your
Could
fourth.
be fourth, yeah.
I mean, if you guys don't see it, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to the Padres.
Right.
If you don't see the through line and you don't see the root of all these issues, I don't know what to tell you, dude. No one in baseball history has gotten more chances than AJ Preller has as a GM
it's up there.
and president of baseball operations. If there has been another GM out there that's gotten more chances without succeeding, please let me know.
Right. I mean, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, if you want to say Brian
Might
Cashman,
be like
because he hasn't won
1960.
if you want to say Brian Cashman because he hasn't won in a decade, okay. Well,
Yeah,
at
but
least
he's got 3.
He's got 3
or 4. I don't even know.
and,
I don't think he had all 4 of the.
And
dynasty.
everybody in New York wants to fire him. I literally can't think of another GM right now that has
There
been
isn't right now because there's only 2 GMs more tenured than Preller. They both have World Series, Mike Rizzo and Brian Cashman.
So
not active.
Yeah.
I don't know about the history of baseball. Who the hell knows? But modern baseball, last 30 years, since like the 1990s, you're probably right. I don't know
Maybe
if
Billy
a GM's been
Beane
given more chances. What about Billy Beane?
Billy Beane, how long has he been
It's true. Billy Beane's been there obviously longer than Preller, but then again, he's not even in that role anymore. He's not GM, is he?
No, I don't think he is either.
No,
I don't think he is.
He's not. Who is it? Whoever it is. But who cares? I mean, he's had a fortune of success, Billy Beane, when you consider the circumstances with Oakland.
Yeah, man, it's hard to really sell why AJ Preller should be back, because you did the same thing in 2021. The same thing, like it's almost like just replay whatever you said in 2021.
Won the 100-year season.
Yeah, like literally, just replay it. If you guys are going to go that route, and you guys are going to bring back Preller, and you guys are going to bring back Melvin, just replay whatever you said after 2021, because that's it's like almost mirroring what happened, not to that extent.
Well, it's a completely different year, but the disappointment is comparable. I mean, everything was different, but the end feeling is very similar.
Yeah, and I would
That's how
say
I look at it.
The things that are similar are the dysfunction, the lack of communications, the molehills becoming mountains with the problems that were festering with the team, a clubhouse that was not good. I mean, those are things that we all heard were going to be fixed and not happen again. And it happened 2 years later.
Yeah, I mean, I heard someone today, I feel like it was nationally talking about it, or someone basically today saying, like, making the argument that, yeah, they understand not running it back, but they also understand that the odds of if you had the exact same roster again, performing to the exact same level,
but they're
is
not.
Probably low. No, I know they're not. I know they're not. But, whoever the manager is, whoever the general manager is, the roster is going to change, no matter who it is. It's not going to be the exact same team. I mean, you could make an easy case right now. They won't be near as good in terms of on paper in 2024 than 2023. We'll see how it plays out. Let me get to the superhero run it back. Thank you guys if you're here. Subscribe. If you're here, thank you for the super chats. Click the $sign below the chat box. Game 160. Padres eliminated from playoff contention. They can finish no better than 82-80. They'll wrap up their season this weekend in Chicago. Blake Snell will not pitch, presumably on Sunday.
No.
Run it back says, thanks for your hard work and dedication this year. Thank you, Run it back. Hopefully we don't sign or trade for another middle infielder next year and actually fill some holes. That is where it starts. Like, can you actually put together this roster? That goes back to our point on AJ Preller. He's not been the guy to build a cohesive, full bench relief. The full 26-man roster has not been the strength of AJ Preller. That alone might be a reason to move on from him. But yeah, I mean, come on, you got to be smart this offseason. You really have to be smart. And they got to do a lot better than they did this past offseason. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. They have to do a lot better. I have zero faith, dude. I have zero faith in Preller.
Yeah.
And if he happened to build a cohesive roster, it would surprise me. And I'd be the first one to tell you, like, yeah, I was wrong. But I have no faith in Preller to change, to fix things, for the foreseeable future, not just 1 year. Like, you can't just have a 1-year fix and then all of a sudden it turns to shit again, which was what happened. And frankly, it wasn't even really a 1-year fix because there were things happened last year that were also problems.
Mm-hmm.
They just, overcame it because they won a little bit.
Sure.
And they didn't really win at a high clip last year. It's just the postseason was a great run. So
I agree with that. I mean, you have to remember it's so long ago. I think people forget. 2022 start was great.
I think it was like 18-6 or something. 18-7.
And even through May, Jim, it was like someone look up like 36-20. Right? They were
one of the best teams
rolling. And they were off to maybe the best start in franchise history in that 40 or 50 game mark. Now, you're right. The lion's share of the season had its troubles, but when you get off to that 15, 16, 17 over, you can overcome it.
Yeah.
But to go from where they were, that amazing 2 months under Bob Melvin, then the highs of the postseason to this is inexplicable is a word I would want to use, but it's also unforgivable, right? To like go from that high. What's that?
Never mind.
It's something that I think requires a level of fixing beyond just, hey, these guys deserve another opportunity. Like, you can't spend like this and you can't have expectations like this and come up this short. It's one thing if you go 90-72 and you lose in the first round of the playoffs. Okay. All right. It can happen. Disappointing. You wished for more, but they didn't do that. And they didn't do near that. And I don't know. I'm with you. I think ultimately Peter Seidler or whomever is making the final say has to think long and hard and say, what is the direction of this team? And are we trying to win a World Series or are we trying to market effectively? They've marketed very well. You can't argue to me that the Padres are in a position where they can win a World Series in the next 12 months based on what they have with this organization top to bottom. I don't buy it. And I don't know if you're going to get that by making changes, but I don't think this is a World Series caliber franchise heading into 2024.
No chance. I feel the same way. This is something like you are not having the same team next year. Like you just aren't. It's not even close to the same team next year. So there is no hey, just have the same team play another 162 game season, and the odds and there probably will be better. Well, okay, but that's never going to happen unless you create this team on MLB The Show.
Sure.
You're not getting the same team next year. Not even close to the same team. Blake Snell said it perfectly. He doesn't know if he'll ever play on a team this talented ever again.
Yeah, Juan Soto said it's the most talented team he's ever played on. He won a World Series.
So, yeah, and it's not all about talent. We have seen that.
No.
It's about a cohesive roster with role players.
Yeah.
It's like having a role. Everybody has their role. Okay. This team did not have that this year. It was a lot of should I do this? What's that? You got 4 dudes in the middle of your lineup. 2 of them complaining about where they hit. And the other 2, or one of them upset the start of spring training because someone got his money. And then the other guy coming off of a suspension, trying to just lay low and just do his thing. And yeah, they're not getting younger at all. There's always that injury risk every single year with every team, everybody. Manny's always hurt. He's always playing through something. I got to see how Bogarts' wrist is next year because he has had a really good September. But I got to see it to believe it for a full season. I got to see Tatis be way better offensively. He was good this year offensively, but that's not what they expect from him. And if Soto returns, he's got to be what he was in September, not to every single month of the season to that extent, because that you're hitting then 400 for the entire year. But you have to come up clutch, man. And this year there was a lot of clutch moments that he did not come through in. And in August and the start of the year, he had his 2 worst months of the season. Not ironic that the Padres also were horrible to start the year and horrible in August. It's not all on Soto.
Yeah, they were way worse in August than they were to start the year. They were actually 18-15 at one point.
Yeah, and it's not like all on him. It's not on one player. It's on all of them. But if anybody out there, and this is going to happen next year, and I'll say the same thing. I'm sure you'll say the same thing too. If anybody out there gives a shit for talking about games mattering early in the year, I'll just be like, example exhibit A 2023.
I agree. I think all games matter.
I think they do too. Korea's going to matter, guys.
You don't need to
Korea's
sell me on that. But the funny thing is, I don't think they dug their hole in the first 30 games of the year. They were 19-19. That was the last time they were 500. I mean, 500 would have been good enough to be in this thing the whole way.
But they didn't start out with, I think, would you agree that they didn't start the season and it didn't feel like they were.
Yeah, they were just going through the motions. I mean, they were not good.
It didn't feel like the mindset of like, this is a World Series year was there to start.
They were good for one. Honestly, I'm not kidding when I say this. There was one day this year I felt like this could be a really fun year and they had a chance to be good. It's when they beat the Dodgers at home in game 1 to get to 18-15. I thought to myself, wow, they have a chance to be good. Game? It was a bit of a slow start, the Kershaw meme game, and from that point on, even from that point on to today, they're 3 games under 500. All right, Paul Meyer, thank you so much here for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Guys, if you're here, thank you. Please subscribe. Year-round content, in season, out of season, for Padres fans, for baseball fans. Please subscribe. Thank you for the super chats. Just click the $ down below. We're going to tell you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz. In a moment, Paul says 2 words, situational awareness. I think it's a good summary of the Padres' failure of 2023. Just situational hitting, clutch hitting, time and score, you would say, in basketball or football. They just didn't come through in moments where they needed to come through. Now, I think they've been better the last 2 weeks, but they're playing the Oakland A's and the Chicago White Sox, who have literally nothing to play for and have rosters that are nowhere near as good as the San Diego Padres. And maybe the Padres are due, and maybe they're doing this because they're just not in the race anymore. But wouldn't you agree, Jim, that situationally you could not have been worse by and large than the Padres were this year?
One of the worst situational teams I've ever seen.
Ever.
Extra inning games, late in games, just when you have runners at third with less than 2 outs, like I just can't. Their batting average with runners in the scoring position for like 3 months was the worst in the history of baseball.
Right.
Now I don't know where they're at right now, but I can guarantee you they're better than that. But
even tonight, you know what they were with RISP tonight?
What?
1 for 8. You know what they were in that loss the other day during this 12-2 run? 1 for 17.
Yeah, they have to be close to the bottom of the league, right?
I mean, they're I'm sure they're 28th, 29th, 30th. There's no way they're not.
Let me, because that was a huge reason why this team failed this year is they could not hit. Situationally, they were horseshit. And it wasn't just like every time Matthew Batten was at the plate or Austin Nola, even though Austin Nola got a shit ton of opportunities with runners in scoring position and failed every time because the dude couldn't see because the Padres couldn't diagnose it properly. And it was Xander, it was Manny, it was Soto, it was Tatis. All those dudes had plenty of opportunities this year when to either bust a game wide open or add on or whatever the case may be. And they failed majority of the time. This team went, I think, a full 2 months. Imagine if this team didn't have Gary Sanchez on it, because it felt like for like a month and a half or 2 months, Gary Sanchez was the only Padres player that was doing anything in any type of big situation. And then after he did it, they would win 10-1. And then they would win like 12-3. He busted it open. That was it. You didn't really, you rarely saw that from the Big Four. Rarely. Maybe a couple times, but it wasn't as consistent as it needed to be for this team to be good this year. And it falls on those guys' shoulders.
All right. So they hit 242 as a team with men in scoring position somehow. That's utterly shocking to me. They are. I'm looking at which is 26th in baseball. Oakland's hitting 216. The Yankees are hitting 228. They hit 242. The other teams below them, the Angels and the Tigers. So not exactly great, but I bet from the midway point, they probably hit like 265 plus with men in scoring position because they were hitting like 200 for 3 months this year. But again, that really did do them in for a good portion of this year. Okay, we're going to get back to this in a moment. I do want to remind our viewers about our title sponsor here on the Wrap Up Show. We can't do this without the support of Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. We can't do this without your support either. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance is the title sponsor of the Wrap Up Show. He's been with us since day one, which is September of 2021. We've just concluded over 2 seasons of the Wrap Up Show on YouTube, over 4 seasons now of the Wrap Up Show in general. We started with the pandemic in 2020. So Mark's been with us since day one. We couldn't do this without our viewers. We couldn't do this without our listeners that listen back to the podcast version of the Wrap-Up Show. We can't do it without Mark. Great insurance agent. You can take it from us. I've got a homeowner's, earthquake, and life insurance policy through Mark. He saved my family hundreds and hundreds, if not more than that, because we had a claim in here back in 2022. He's a great insurance agent with great service and communication. He made it so simple for us last year when we had to replace our flooring. We had to have all this work done. He saved us thousands of dollars. He saved us dozens of hours of time. You can click the link in the description down below to get to Mark's website. He's a lifelong Padres fan, native San Diegan. You can go to his website, get free quotes online. You can call him. He'll talk to you about the Padres. He'll talk to you about getting free quotes. He'll save you money. Before you renew, call Mark. Whatever it is, auto, home, renter's life, condo, earthquake, whatever it is, call Mark. And he's going to get you the best rate he can. He can save you $750 or more, and he's a great insurance agent. So if you support this channel, please support our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.
Yeah, all his information always is above my head right there. mnimitz at farmersagent.com. When you reach out to Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
All right. If you're here, subscribe. If you're here, thank you for the supers. Click the $ below the chat box. HBBV, thank you for the super. He says, I don't think these are tied together, HBBV. He says, fire AJ and get Kapler, presumably.
So you mean fire Melvin too?
Right, because Kapler's not general managing. And I don't think, honestly, if you hired Gabe Kapler tomorrow, it's going to be seen as an extreme settle because he's been fired 2 times. So if you hired Gabe Kapler, you're going to need to sell that. Not to say he's never effectively managed. He's known as a very good situational manager. What's that?
I said you can't sell it.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to sell it. I mean, he won 107 games, but the other 3 years they missed the postseason in San Francisco. I mean, he's coming off a terrible year.
The definition of mid.
And look at their September. I mean, one of the worst teams in the National League. I don't see how you sell it. I think they're completely different managers. Not that that's a bad thing. And I don't think he's some terrible manager. I just think it's a very tough
sell. Someone in the chat says he meant Max Kepler.
Ew.
I don't know who that is.
The outfielder?
No, idiot.
That's Max Kepler.
Is he's not the outfielder, not the outfielder.
There ain't no Max Kepler GM, is there?
I don't know. I think he meant Kapler.
I think he meant Kapler. Reply HBVV with whomever you meant.
Kapler.
Yeah, I don't think Kapler's the next manager of the San Diego Padres. I really don't. No. Richard Flores, thank you. He says, luck is the residue of design. Branch Rickey. With no culture, no philosophy, how can you build a roster to fit your team style? You need to sign the right players, not the best players. Yeah, I think he's been enamored with the shiny object, obviously. That's what this franchise has been over the last 3+ years. Has it worked? No. Has it been a miserable failure? Yeah, at times. So, yeah, I think there's something to be said for that.
And I said this earlier this month, maybe a couple weeks ago, when they started this run. If they use this September as any type of sway to why they don't keep Melvin or Preller, it would be the exact same thing that happened at the trade deadline. They used that 3-game series that they swept the Texas Rangers as the reason why they should go all in for it. Now, they were much closer to the playoffs then. I get it. But we also said, and you said it firmly, are we just discrediting the previous 95 games?
No, that's of course not. You can't do that.
Well, they seem to do that because they didn't trade Snell and they didn't trade Hader. And those 2 moves now, which I said, you better make the postseason if you don't trade those guys, are going to be viewed now, I think, in the later down the line, not right now, but I think later down the line, be viewed as like complete malpractice.
Yeah, and I mean, you remember what I mean, I think we both said it. I was firm on it. I mean, 100 games is 100 games, and, like, there were not good indicators to bet on the Padres. Like, it's almost like they were betting on the Padres just to, like, effectively market the team and not sell off because it would have looked bad. But I always said, you gotta do what's in the best interest of the organization for 2024, and they did not do that.
No.
So now they've put themselves in a tougher spot to win next year because of the haul they could have received for either or both Josh Hader or Blake Snell. I'm not saying moving for nothing if the offers weren't there, but I know the offers were there because the guys were having great years and teams are always looking to upgrade. Closer and starting pitching. Give me a break. High commodity, hot commodity stuff, and the Padres elected to stick with it. Okay, I get it. You're going to draw 3 million fans, but you damn well got to put yourself in a position to get into the postseason. And unfortunately, they didn't do that. JD Gacho, thank you again. He says it's ironic that the Padres went full Hollywood from the get-go, while the Dodgers went more blue-collar, and the Padres never woke up. Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers offseason was very uninspiring, I think, for Dodger fans, and look at where they are right now. We'll see what happens this upcoming offseason. Teams like San Francisco, LA, with money to spend, and Shohei Ohtani available. So, yeah, I mean, we knew that the Dodgers would be there even without wild spending this offseason.
We knew they'd win 100 games, dude.
Yeah, we knew they wouldn't win 111, and they're not going to. But look at this. They'll go minus 10, to your point. They'll go minus 10 in wins, and they'll win 100 games.
It's crazy. I think they are 99. They won their 99th game tonight.
So, yeah, I don't know if they're not the National League favorite, probably, right? I mean, it's Atlanta. But they're right there. I mean, you win 100 games, they're not going to be some huge underdog, I wouldn't think.
And the worst feeling is knowing that the Dodgers, in a perceived down year, won 100 games, and they did nothing this past offseason because you know who's coming up.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me they're not going to go hard after Ohtani.
Well, that's where I'd be worried about two teams in the NL West that aren't San Diego. San Francisco and Los Angeles would be highly concerning.
Yeah.
And very plausible.
I would not be shocked if next year you have Shohei Ohtani and Blake Snell remaining in the NL West, except one of them's with the Giants, one of them's with the Dodgers.
I think both will be either in the American League or National League West. I do believe that. And I agree with you. I think it's a possibility that the National League West houses both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're lucky that Ohtani won't pitch next year, but still,
True.
Dude is a 45 home run, 1,000 OPS player.
Yeah, you don't want to face him in 13 games. They did a really nice job this year with the Angels and Ohtani in that brief series. But you don't want to face him 13 times a year, obviously.
Dude, imagine a lineup with Mookie, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani.
They'd be good. I doubt they're going 81-81 that first year, would be my guess.
Right.
Eric, thank you. He says, Preller looks like the spoiled rich kid who never got hit as a kid, told no by his parents.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't I wouldn't describe him like that.
No.
I would describe Preller as a socially awkward, overthinker, workaholic micromanager.
I like that. Yeah, he's a classic example of you lose a return on investment at some point with trying to work every second of every day. At some point, there's not a return.
No.
Was it Darren that said? Did Darren say the other day something about he's making phone calls on Thanksgiving night in the middle of the night?
Oh yeah, dude. This guy's making phone calls.
A little bit crazy. I mean,
yes, he's making phone calls left and right every single day, every night.
I mean, at some point you gotta put the phone down. Like at 3 a.m, you should give it a break. Haven't we heard repeatedly from who was the one that initially said AJ repeatedly will fall asleep on the phone talking to someone through the night? I mean, that's wild. What? You've heard that before, haven't you?
No.
I've heard that in the last 2 years, Jen. Someone backed that up in the chat. I've heard that. He would fall asleep.
Jeez.
Like during I think he said it, during trade deadline season, he would just be up talking about potential players, just pass out and then wake back up and continue the conversation. I don't know who said it, but I've heard that.
One of the main problems with Preller is he is incapable of delegating and letting people do their jobs without getting involved. He also does not understand the concept of work smarter, not harder. And those are classic cases of, hey, do you want to fail? Do these things. You try to work hard, yet you're always trying. I mean, if you run a business and you're the CEO of the business, you let the people below you do their jobs. Like, you don't get involved in every single spot in the organization, which is what Preller does. And you hire people to do the jobs that you set them out to do. And if the people below you aren't getting those jobs done, then you make changes. But Preller can't help himself. He has to be involved in everything, like everything. So when you do that, and if you're someone trying to do their job, but you have someone over your shoulder trying to do your job as well, along with their job, which is also not easy. I mean, how is that like a cohesive, good workplace?
Yeah, it's not a good idea, and that is the management style of some people. There's no question about it.
Like,
Some
have you
people
ever
are just
worked with
not.
somebody, John, have you ever worked and had a boss be such a micromanager, and you're like, dude, leave me the fuck alone?
Yeah, definitely. And I would be in the category of, like, if I am overseeing people, I wouldn't want to delegate it. I would just do it myself. So I understand it, but it's not a good quality of someone that's overseeing an organization. Like,
Yeah,
I might have
you're not
overseen
doing the
two
GM.
people,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't want, like, Bob doing it because I can do it better than Bob. So let me just do it. But when I'm overseeing, like, Bob Iger, who's like the CEO of Disney, like, it's probably hard to oversee like the entirety of Disney. Like, you're gonna have to trust the guy overseeing ESPN is gonna have to do it,
Right.
and the guy overseeing ABC is gonna have to do it. And, like,
Yeah.
you can't do everything, and you can't stay up 24 hours a day. Luis, thank you so much for the very generous super chat. She says, thanks to you and your significant others.
Shout out to them.
Kristen in the chat, and she's here right now,
Aaron's
for providing this venue and staying up late so fans can vent. Monday will be interesting, and I'm nervous. Letting Melvin go would be a huge mistake. I agree with this. I think what it is it has the potential of being Bochy 2.0. I hate to say that, but let's be honest. This is San Diego, and that curse is only becoming more real. Yeah. If you get rid of Melvin, he goes to San Francisco, and then they win. I mean, how could you possibly have that situation play out, which has already played out involving the Padres and the Giants? Bochy, by the way, was under contract when he went to San Francisco. So it doesn't make any sense. If he wants to be back, I'm bringing him back. Simple as that.
Yeah, he has leverage here. AC told us today that he doesn't. He does. If he wants to leave, he can leave.
No doubt.
He's not tied down to this organization. And if the $4 million is a reason why people think that he's not going to leave, you're telling me that he can't get $4 million again from the Giants or the Mets
from another team
or another team? Like, of course they are. The Padres are going to give him $4 million. Someone else is going to give him $4 million.
And even if it's 3.9, I mean, he probably wants to be where he wants to be. It's a lot of money either way.
Now, if Bob truly thinks that this team can win next year, okay, then he'll stay and he'll maybe does, right, and he'll not work with Preller, but, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like, coexist.
He'll tolerate Preller.
Yeah,
I think he could tolerate Preller for another year. But the question is, if both of them return next year, you got Bob under on a lame duck year. So if anything goes wrong, who's to say Preller doesn't fire him in the middle of the season again if they're not performing?
The lame duck thing, and I'm with you. I agree with that if things don't go well. But when I read that article today on Kapler, and I read that Counsell is lame duck, Milwaukee's been really good. Dusty Baker's lame duck. I get it. He's not a kid anymore.
But Dusty has said, I think he's like, yeah, I only do 1-year deals.
Yeah, I get it. I know, and it makes sense, honestly. And then Phil Nevin, okay. Well, he kind of stumbled into the role. I get it. Maybe that he was in a lame duck year and they could have, like, a Trout situation and an Ohtani situation where they walk. Maybe you don't want him beyond the length of the Ohtani deal. But, like, you had multiple like Counsell, Baker, and Nevin all managing in walk years.
Well,
2 of those teams are pretty good.
Okay. The Counsell thing is interesting. I will say that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. the Dusty Baker
I'm with you a bit. Okay, that's fine. He doesn't want to. That's fine.
He just won a World Series.
And Phil Nevin, okay, he's kind of a first-time manager. The Angels aren't very good. I guess I understand not extending him out. That makes sense. Just bringing him back in 2023, I think, was a win for Phil Nevin. I think that's how it was looked at after 2022 because they were terrible.
Yeah, and you just do it
because it's like
because
yeah, exactly. But Bob Melvin isn't Phil Nevin. Like Bob Melvin's a 20-year manager. Phil Nevin's a 2-year manager. Bob Melvin's had success. Phil Nevin hasn't as a manager.
Right. So like man, it's so fascinating because
but you're going to waste a year if you do that, though, Jim. To your point, you can't. If Bob, let's hear me out. You start 2024, and you're 9-19, or you're 10-16. 9-19 is too extreme. You're 10-16, and everyone, the fan base is up in arms, and everyone's mad about everything, and you fire Bob Melvin. I mean, haven't you now wasted another year? And they could argue the Rob Thompson Phillies type situation. You could turn a season around in the middle of the year. It's possible. But I mean, who's gonna have faith in that? Hey, AJ Preller just fired Bob Melvin 30 games into the year, and now they're gonna go on their big run behind Ryan Flaherty.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, it's just tough, dude, because they are in a win now mode. So if you do fire Preller, you're running a big risk. I will admit that you are
because the next GM is going to be like, he's going to ask for time.
Yeah.
He's going to tinker. He's going to blame the previous administration, so to speak.
But like, that's the thing is, there's a rock and a hard place, and it's like, okay, what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the continued dysfunction and relying on hope and a guy that in 9 years has failed way more than he succeeded, and he is erratic and a micromanager and brings people in this organization that people are like, what the fuck are you doing? Or are you going to about face and get rid of him and start anew, but also have the risk of that person wanting to change a lot of things with the organization when it might be perceived as they're, close to winning right now? It's a tough decision. And I will say, I do not envy them. If it were me, I would be the ultimate like knee jerk. You're gone. I would have done it in 2021. Is it really knee jerk
though? I mean, it's not very knee jerk.
It's not knee jerk. It's not. But like, I would have done it in 2021. I would have fired him in 2021. I wouldn't even have given him another year after the whole Tingler debacle. Like, you're done. It was 7 years of shit. I can't even count 2020 as anything. You got to go.
Here's knee jerk. If this team was good this year, not great, but good, like put them in the American League and you had to win 86, 87, 88 games. Let's say they were, 10 games over all year. And then those final 10 games, they went 2-8 and they missed out. That's a little knee jerk. It's like you were good and then you disappointed the final week and you're like, it's not good enough. You had to make the postseason. Yeah, you went 86 and 76, but you were 2-8 down the stretch. Bye-bye. That to me is more knee jerk. This isn't knee jerk. We've been talking about this for 5 months, and you could argue it's been talked about for 3+ years with 2021. They've had time to weigh pros and cons. This is not something that all of a sudden popped up. Oh my gosh, Padres are out of the postseason. We knew it was going to happen by and large for months. So for me, it's not very knee-jerk. Rich, thank you for your support. Thank you for hanging out today. Fair Play, great to see you. He says, when we left Fair Play, the Marlins scored 4 runs. And that's exactly what happened. Literally, I was walking to my car, and it was 3-2. And then I was in my car, it was 4-3. I mean, it happened quick.
It's our fault.
It is.
It's our fault.
We should have spent the night.
We should have.
Honestly, if there's a place I'm going to spend the night that's a bar in San Diego, Fair Play would be up there.
Yeah,
I love that neighborhood.
Couches in there.
Yeah. Maurice Machado, thank you so much for the super chat, guys. If you're here, subscribe. If you're here, thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. Padres win, but they've been eliminated from playoff contention in 2023. He says, players most to blame. Save the smile, pictures, and pinatas for when you're effing raking.
I had no problem with it. I thought that it was something.
But they did drop that, didn't they?
Oh, they dropped it pretty quickly.
Oh, but not the pictures, I guess.
No, the pictures remained.
Yep.
They need it for their new Polaroid book at the end of the season to sell.
Are they really going to do that again?
I hope not. But I don't have a problem with like the piñata parties and the swag chains. Like, every team does it, dude.
Yep.
It's not. I don't think it's a big deal, and I for damn sure I'm not blaming are putting that as a reason why they're not winning. Like I think that is something that's good. So yeah, I don't find that to be any problem. It doesn't bother me. I like it.
It is a little bit. The one thing I would say is it has that like
Only if you win, though.
eyewash feel.
Yeah, only if you win, though.
Yeah, exactly. When you're not winning, it feels like it's almost fake.
Yep.
When, hey, look at us in the dugout taking photos. Like, guys, you're 9 games under 500.
Right.
For whatever reason, yeah, like come on, you got to know the circumstance. I go back to very early in the year when I got my first feelings that this wasn't right is when they were all laughing in the dugout at Dodger Stadium, getting swept on Sunday Night Baseball. I'm like, this is a weird dynamic here. Yeah. What is going on where this team with this many stars and this much money attached to it thinks anything funny happens when you don't win? Like, this is the only job you have is to win. Like, that's the only thing that matters. And they failed miserably in that category. And it was weird from day one, just the way they treated losing this year. Joshua, thank you for the very generous super. Really do appreciate that, Joshua. Thank you. He says, shout out today to the pitcher that actually does everything. Nick Martinez. I was thinking about this, Jim. I think you have 3 starters for next year at least. You have Musgrove, you have Darvish, you have Nick Martinez. I think Nick Martinez absolutely starts for this team in 2024. We'll see about Lugo Waka. Maybe one's back, maybe not. But I think Nick Martinez is starting for this team in 2024.
I do too. And it's a downgrade from what you've had.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, obviously Snell. I mean, come on.
You know, when you lose the Cy Young Award winner in your rotation, you need other guys to step up in a big way. Can Darvish actually stay healthy? It's a big question. He's a year older. Can Musgrove put together an all-star season? Because that's what you're going to need from him.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, he's got to be really good.
Can Nick Martinez give you 28 starts next year?
That's the question. I mean, they've yo-yoed him back and forth. I think he wants to be that guy. I think they haven't really trusted him to be that guy, but he certainly wants to be that guy.
Can you find anybody out there that's going to give you 30 starts? I mean,
yes,
dude, they are.
The answer is yes.
But to give you 30 quality starts.
Right. I mean, listen, I thought they did a nice job finding Lugo and Waka.
I did too.
Nice job. Can he do it again? I can't guarantee it.
I said at the beginning of the year, I thought that this rotation was World Series-esque with the talent they had. They needed to have it all go right. They had the Snell part go right. They had the Musgrove part go right until he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
And Yu Darvish just had a bad year. Just a bad year overall.
Yep.
And then you had Lugo and Waka both step up in a big way. And so that's why this is even more frustrating is you wasted an opportunity from what I think World Series caliber rotation if healthy, and you shit the bed.
I mean, again, you saw there's all these stats Kevin's been writing about. I've seen it's like they're the only team in baseball history with this, and this to be at 500 or worse. We know that, but like Snell, Cy Young, dude, Soto's year, when you just look at it on paper, is a legit year. One of the top 10 years in like Padres franchise history. Hader's year is legitimate when you look at it on paper. It's like you add this all up and you're like, oh, wait, what? Ha-Seong Kim, and I was completely fallen off.
Completely.
He's been terrible. But, Ha-Seong Kim has had a nice year. It's just weird. It's just weird when you look at it all individually.
Listen to this from Danny Vietti, to your point. Mm-hmm. He put on all the things the Padres have accomplished this year. You got the Cy Young Award winner. You have 3 players that have hit 25 plus home runs. You have the second best team ERA in the National League. Their closer has a 1.16 ERA. They have the 3rd highest offensive F4 in the National League, and the 3rd fewest errors in the National League.
Yeah, they've been sound defensively. They have.
They've been one of the best defensive teams in baseball.
It has not cost them much at all.
And they're
80-80.
You're a 500 team.
Because I'll tell you why. They're bad in 1-run games. They're bad in extra innings. They're not clutch, and that's all you need to know. Kenny Stuff, thank you for the super chat.
Thanks, Kenny.
He says AJ should get credit for this pitching staff, and I agree. And that's kind of on cue. I think he did a nice job with Lugo, Waka, Martinez a couple of years ago. I think the bullpen, Tom Cosgrove, you talk about someone that has a future in your bullpen. Tom Cosgrove's that guy. Robert Suarez could move to the closer hopefully next year. I mean, there are some wins in there. It's hard to see it through the disappointment of this year, but I think the pitching has been solid. They blew some leads there, right, Jen? There was a 6-week period they were blowing a lot of leads with their bullpen.
Was horrible.
Yeah, but
you couldn't even get Josh Hader to pitch in games.
But the pitching staff overall has definitely been solid. We're not like, oh my gosh, the pitching. That's not been a common theme, I don't think, with the year. The bullpen, yes, it popped up there, but I don't think it's been the overarching theme of the year.
And Preller gets credit for, he's done some nice things. Like, I'm not saying that everything he's done is shit, because it's not. I would just be lying if I said that. He's done some nice things. But again, those nice things have to equal winning. The bottom line has not been good enough. So it's really hard for me to fully praise Preller for some of the nice things that he has done with his franchise, when the bottom line is they have missed the postseason 7 out of 9 years that he's been the general manager. And one of the years they made the postseason was in 2020. For me, that is the beginning and the end of the conversation.
ORA.organic, longtime partner here on the Wrap-Up Show. Great company. Their co-founder, Will, is a huge Padres fan, a native San Diegan, a huge supporter of this channel. If you support our work, please support Aura. Everyone could use nutritional, health-based, plant-based products that could get you healthier, right? Everyone wants to get healthier. They've got plant-based nutritional supplements, okay? Whether it's their probiotics, which I take every single day for digestion, heart health, mental health, and more. A great probiotic. I've taken it every day for over a year. They have pre-workout supplements, proteins for after workouts, omega-3 oils. And if you're taking a fish oil, take the omega-3 oil from Aura, right? So that's plant-based. They've got sleep pills, immunity pills, and more. Check them out at ora.organic or by clicking the link in the description down below. But whatever it is, and there's much more, shop at ora.organic. Whatever it is, they have it for you. And rest assured, it's the best product you're going to find on the market. It's all plant-based, okay? So ora.organic, big-time supporters of the Wrap-Up Show here on YouTube, Padres fans. And again, if you support our work, please support our local our partners like Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance, like our friend Will at Aura. Check them out at ora.organic.
Yeah, go there right now. If you are thinking of starting to take some supplements and live a healthier lifestyle and you don't know where to go, Aura is the best place for you. www.ora.organic. It's all plant-based, organic. They have everything you need for pre-workout and post-workout. Cleanest on the market. I've taken and I take the raspberry lemonade flavored pre-workout. It's delicious. Go there right now, pick up some supplements, and you'll thank us later.
By the way, if you want this hat from Parks and Normal, click the link in the description down below or the link pinned in the top of the live chat. We'll give it away Sunday night. You need to enter to win by clicking that link. Parks and Normal, an amazing company for Padres fans. They've got so many cool hats that they've had over the years, including this brand new City Connect Parks and Normal Padres cap that's actually coming out in the offseason on October 10th. All right, a couple of more supers here rolling in. If you're here, we do appreciate the super chats. We're going to get to every single one of them here tonight. Also, please subscribe. We're about to enter the offseason. Could be as interesting of an offseason as the Padres have had in quite some time. Please subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans. And again, if you want to contribute with the super, click the $ below the chat box like Paul has done a couple of times tonight. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Do appreciate it. He says, where's the value talent going to come from for this team? If they can't spend more, they're going to need some homegrown talent. No, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll need more homegrown talent. Some people believe they have that right now in their system with guys like Robbie Snelling and Dylan Lesko and Ethan Salas and Jackson Merrill. Others would tell you, well, they need to prove it at the major league level, which is something that A.J. Preller's prospects haven't routinely done with the Padres. But yes, they will have to develop from within to sustain any level of success.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I believe it when I see it. They've always had talented players in the minor leagues. That's to A.J. Preller's credit. But nobody gives a fuck about minor league records. Bless me.
Bless you.
Nobody. And if you do,
happy off season, Jim sneezed.
Yes, happy off season. Nobody cares. I don't care what the missions record was this year. I don't care what the tin caps record was.
It was very good.
And it was very good. And not to discredit them, not discrediting them, but
who cares?
I just, it's about the Major League Club. And there is a part of this that I do think Preller has gotten some rope because of how good his minor league prospects and talents have been. Now, I would then go right around and say, well, bro, how many have you developed that have come to the big league level and are here? Because the answer is like almost none. I mean, you have a couple. Like, I think Luis Campusano, you could argue, yeah, that's for sure a talent that you developed, but I got to see it for a full season. Okay. Matthew Batten's been a nice little story in September, but again, is he going to be a consequential piece? Maybe. I don't know. You just mentioned Tom Cosgrove. I think that's a good thing. I think he's been good at developing like some bullpen pieces, but nothing of like major consequence to where this guy is like lights out. I mean, Matt Brash with the Mariners, he's like one of the best relievers in the game. You know, you got relievers around baseball that are all, it seems like, from the Padres organization at one point or another. I believe it when I see it. They need it for sure. Everyone's always said that you need infused homegrown talent in your roster. You just have to have it. Preller's never done it, and it's yet to be seen. And it's another reason why AJ Preller does not deserve to be back as general manager.
What do you guys think about that? We should probably put it in the live chat, a poll before we go. I mean, do you? That's the way you just phrased it there. Does AJ Preller deserve to be back as general manager? I'm going to put that in right now. Read this super that's on the screen.
From HBBB VPPP JJJJJJJJ. Preller and Baumel need to go to couples counseling.
Kind of.
I don't even know if that's going to work.
Like Kevin, sessions.
Like this whole notion that AJ is just going to like, hey, like the conversation is, hey, dude, you need to communicate more. Okay, cool. Everything's fixed. Like, what? Give me a break. Give me a break. Really? That's all they need is just better communication.
And we've said before, it's like, if you don't like someone, you don't like someone. It's not like the end of the world, but if everyone's had a coworker they don't really enjoy working with, and like, is it really fixable, or do you just kind of coexist and you manage to get along or figure it out? But is that the best situation for your workforce when you have people that don't relate well to each other?
Preller. Sorry, go.
Yeah, no, and I mean, maybe it is because they just haven't been very good. So, of course, there's going to be friction, and it's not going to be ideal. And I think to some extent that is understandable. But again, there's a difference between a good relationship and a bad relationship. If me and Jim were running the Padres, we would fight like crazy, but it would be a good relationship, good or bad. But that's because we have a good relationship. If we had a terrible relationship, who would, like, if it was me and if it was Jim and Jonathan Rifkin, here, I'll just call that out. Then
I like Jonathan.
No, but you know what I mean.
We're trying good, dude. I know. Hey, you were saying.
I'm saying, like, if it was, I don't know a good example. If it was, give me an example in sports radio.
Darren and Marty.
Yeah, like, are Darren and Marty going to be able to run the Padres? Like, what have they start 0-1? Darren's going to try to fire Marty, or vice versa.
I don't know.
I'm sure Darren will love that analogy.
He probably would. Yeah, I don't know. But I get what you're saying. Is
like, you're gonna pull you're gonna like kill Scraby if Scraby's managing this team, and like after the game is like, hey, we played great. And it was like a 10-0 loss. You're literally gonna try to fire him.
He's like, man, that was such a hard loss. We'll get him tomorrow.
Yeah, you would be like so mad.
Like, are you fucking kidding me? You guys lost 12-2.
And like, is that going to be salvageable with like an off-season meeting? Maybe.
No, Preller, I just, for anybody that believes that Preller is going to change, like, you're a sucker. You just are. I'm talking to like Peter Seidler here. I mean, dude, it didn't change after 2021. You expect it to change now? It's you know what it reminds me
Did
almost
not
of?
change after 2021 though. Is they did go get Bob Melvin. We're like, finally! Like it was a sigh of relief. Like you got a real competent manager. Maybe he will just lead this team to the promised land.
Yeah, that
And
did
it doesn't
work.
even. And it worked for a year, kind of.
Yeah, the winning masked it, but it wasn't
Yep.
sustainable long term.
Right. And the most amazing comment from Bob Melvin recently was when he was asked on MLB Network Radio by Mike Farron, like, "Hey, how's your relationship with AJ?" And he completely beat around the bush, but he made an amazing comment. There was like, "Oh, did you know AJ before you took the job?" He's like, "No, I didn't. I had never even met him one time," which I think was a huge win for the Padres.
And a huge red flag, probably, that Melvin should have realized.
Yeah, like, hey, maybe I should have done a little bit more diligence here.
Okay, maybe I should meet him first before I take this job.
SJL Stevens, thank you so much for your membership and the super chat. He says, with the decrease in budget for next season, what are your thoughts on ways they can improve? They'll need pitching, depth, and bats for less. I heard someone say today, because I was on like what's it called? Like a panel, NPR panel with Bernie Wilson.
Oh, yeah, how's that?
Ryan Finley, editor of the UT, and Troy Hirsch, Fox 5. It was good. But Ryan Finley made the interesting point of like, listen, the payroll by attrition will come down because Blake Snell's not coming back. So there's 16 million, and maybe Waka's not coming back. Whatever he just made in 2023. Oh, there's I don't know the number. I'm making it up. 8 million. So like right there is $25 million. I'm just making this up. But my argument to that is, well, yeah, but you have to replace those pieces. Are you doing it internally? I guess if you do with someone like Nick Martinez, maybe. Are you going to have Robbie Snelling pitching on the big league team to start 2024? I find that unlikely. No. But, this idea that just based on attrition, you could save some money. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But it's a good point, SJL Stevens. Like, how do you become more competitive by spending less when you are so handcuffed by the money you're going to spend next year on the Big Ten or whatever, the core of the roster?
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of money coming off the books next year. But you have to replace those players. And when the money comes off the books and you're still at $200 million while also needing to replace and fill seemingly half of your roster, then it's like, okay, that's a problem. If this payroll, like if they went into next year with a committed payroll of like $130 million, including Juan Soto,
that would be amazing.
I would feel pretty good. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, okay, there's opportunities to take maybe risks. There's opportunities to get some real depth pieces for not a lot. You don't have to go out and get the big fish all the time, even though if they were at $130 million only committed to next year, damn well AJ Preller couldn't help himself and he would go after Shohei Ohtani. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, what about that talk? Everyone, Padres are going to be in an Ohtani.
Right. Yeah, not anymore.
Right.
I don't think so. But when you go into a season at 200 committed for 12 dudes, 13 dudes, that's a problem.
I do think here's my to answer SJL Stevens' question, and I don't have a real answer, but I will say this, and I've said this before in the month of September, and I'm not going to guarantee that Juan Soto is traded because I wouldn't do that. I think it's possible. I find it unlikely. I think it's possible. Here's what I do think. I think they're going to make a real move via trade, potentially impacting their big league roster. And now what do I mean by that? I mean, like, listen, I think you got to consider what are you getting back for like a Ha-Seong Kim? Okay. Who's got 1 year left on his deal, who you'd have to pay. Is he in line to get paid by the Padres after 2024? Sure, you're opening in Korea, but that's not my reason to hold on to the player. So when I see who's movable, Kim with a year left on his deal coming off a really good year, Soto with a year. Think about it. You got 1 year left with these players. These aren't 5-year players.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying go move Joe Musgrove. I'm not saying go move Yu Darvish because they can't. They can't use Machado. They can't move Machado, Bogart. But if I have a chance to move someone like Ha-Seong Kim, who's going to go get Dansby Swanson money, I'm damn well moving him. I have to. Why wouldn't I? He's off a career year in his prime. I got shortstops all over the place.
They're not going to.
Why not?
Why not? Because they don't have the balls to do that.
He's got 1 year left on his deal. Do you trust that they're going to sign him long term?
They didn't have the balls to trade Blake Snell and Josh Hader when it was like
that was a
kind of
perception
obvious
play. They were just like, let's just go pretend like we're in this.
Right. So you can't. Yeah, I just again, I don't trust Preller at all.
Right.
Whatever moves he makes this offseason, even if it's a big time move, I'm going to be super reserved. I just will be. I mean,
well, one person that's gone is Trent Grisham.
Right? It got to be.
He's
Right?
making 3-4 mil. I can do better.
Either I mean, we're fucking done here.
Yeah, give me a rookie or give me whatever. Move Tatis to center. Figure it out.
Yeah, it'll be hard for me. But yeah, I have to be completely reserved with almost every move that Preller would make this offseason because of how bad of a track record he has. And hoping that it would work out and looking at it, trying to look at it objectively. But until I see it, I don't trust it.
Niles, thank you. He says, put Preller's life in the hands of G-Man. Preller keeps his job if G-Man gets a hit before the season's over. Keeps us watching. That's ridiculous and hilarious.
Fucking amazing.
Has he still been hitless? Can you look at it? What are his stats with the Padres?
All right, let me look at this right here real quick.
I know this is not great. I mean, how many at-bats does he have? 20?
Hold on. Active. G-Man Choi. Don't look.
I'm not looking. I'm not. I just don't care.
All right. In 14 games with the Padres, he's had 24 official at-bats.
Ooh. No hits.
He's 0 for 24 with the Padres.
God. He's walked a little bit.
He's a 242 OPS.
Does he? That's amazing. How many walks does that mean? He's got 6 walks?
He's at 7 walks.
That's incredible. This guy, if he could hit, this guy would have like a 500 on base.
I mean, what a just disastrous trade at the deadline. 2 guys that just
Rich Hill, they're 0-6 in his starts.
Rich Hill, his numbers with the Padres are
not good.
And by the way, you traded for him when he.
What'd they give up?
They traded.
Whatever it was too much.
Probably the next Mike Trout. With the Padres, he's 0-4 with an 8.88 ERA in 9 games pitched, 5 starts. He's pitched 25 1/3 innings, and he's given up 25 earned runs. He has struck out 22 and walked 11.
You can't sell me on this. Like, you traded Alfonso Rivas, Jackson Wolf, Estuar Suero, or whatever his name is.
He's been better off with fucking Jackson Wolf. Who remember he made his Major League debut?
Yeah,
and
he was fine.
He didn't have really good stuff, but
he would have been better than 6 losses and 6 starts, is my guess.
And who else did they get? That was just Garrett Cooper with the Padres.
I like some Garrett Cooper, man.
Done some things. We know we talked to Craig Mish to cover.
What's he done? What's he done? Give me his batting average on base slug.
All right. He has appeared in 40 games with the Padres this year.
Wow.
40 games.
Guy's like best player on the team.
He's got 4 home runs, 15 RBIs. He's got 7 doubles. He's hitting 248 with a 744 OPS.
That's not bad, honestly. That's not bad at all. That's fine. That's reasonable.
That almost what is that equal to a full season?
It's like quasi production. Not a lot. I mean, it's 15, 16 homers, 60 RBIs, right? I mean, it's
40 games, 7 home runs in 40 games.
Oh, 7? I think he said 4.
Oh, sorry, 4. Sorry, it's 7 doubles.
Yeah, 4 times 4 is 16. It's 16 homers, 60 RBIs. That's fine. Serviceable.
That's like an average season for him. I think,
yeah.
2023. Sorry, not 2023. 2022 wasn't that good. 2019 was fine. I mean, this year he's got 17 home runs total.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd bring him back if it was for nothing.
Yeah, he is the type of player that it would be a good bench piece and a good player to not be your everyday starter at first base, but, start, 4 of 7 games in a week?
I kind of like him. Yeah, I'm not opposed to the Garrett Cooper experience returning. Who was the other player they traded for? Oh, Scott Barlow, who's under contract through 2024. That's fine.
Scott Barlow, who will be
in your bullpen.
So with the Padres this year,
I think the numbers are only going to look average, even though he's been solid.
24 appearances, he has a 3.18 ERA.
That's good.
28 and a third innings.
That's good.
He struck out 31, walked 11.
Yeah, he's been good.
So 2 solid good players for sure, and then 2 disastrous.
But here's the thing with the 2 good players: you actually only have one that could impact you. It's Barlow in 24, unless you re-sign Cooper.
Sure.
So it's like, yeah, Cooper's been nice, but it's not going to pay any dividends. Moving forward.
Oh, they brought Jurickson Profar back too.
I do like me some Jurickson Profar.
Let's see what Jurickson Profar has done with the Padres, because
I mean, he's just good vibes.
Great vibes.
And they've been good in September. Maybe he was a missing piece.
He's only appeared in 12 games, 34 at bats, but he's got 2 home runs, a double. He's hit 265 with a 741 OPS with the Padres in 12 games.
Jim, look at it like this.
Vibes are high.
They were 89 and 73 last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say this year, I'm completely making it up. He's only been up for part of September. So let's say they're like, I'm just making it up. Like, give me a number, like 14 and 6, because they're 12 and 2 here recently. So let's just say they're like 14 and 6 since he's been up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm telling you is, with him, they're like 27 games over 500 the last 2 years. With everyone else, they're not.
They played the Rockies, the White Sox.
I know, but I'm saying it's good vibes. I'm not saying it's because of him. I'm saying he's the glue guy. I was the one that's saying get rid of Profar, and you all were telling me last year like he's the greatest player since Babe Ruth, and not having Jurickson Profar is the reason why the Padres won't win 10 straight World Series. Remember, I was like, who needs Profar? You're like, why do you hate Profar? I'm just saying they've been good when Profar's been on the team. Now, I'm not paying him because he what did he make this year? He made like $10 million. You can't pay him $10 million. JD Gastro, thank you. He says, will Jim do a rush hour dance at year's end with John? I don't know what a rush hour dance would be.
Rush hour dance.
Jim's not into it. JD Gastro, nor am I.
I'm just looking at numbers here. Yeah,
And here JD Gaucho says Taylor Swift will get a base hit before G-Man.
She's already gotten she's already got a couple hits. she'll have more hits than G-Man Choi ever will have in his entire life.
Potential. Yeah, potentially true. What are you looking up?
I'm just looking at stats.
Okay, while you do that, guys, UnderdogFantasy.com is the best and easiest place to play fantasy sports. It really is. By the way, limited time only. If you use promo code PADSWRAP, PADSWRAP, they're going to match your first deposit up to $500. Now, you only have to deposit $10 to get the match, by the way. If you want, you can deposit up to $500, and they're going to match it by using promo code PADSWRAP. That is PADSWRAP. We've told you about the pick'ems, simple higher and lower contests. You just pick higher or lower on multiple selections, and you can win. Like, for example, tonight in the Ryder Cup, let's say you like Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. I know Jim does. To have more than 4 holes won. So you go higher there.
The U.S., bro.
They're getting smoked.
Is getting fucking killed.
Yeah, that's why I'm not watching. Okay, so we got that. And then let's pair it with like a Padres player tomorrow. If they have a Padres player for tomorrow.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Tatis, White Sox are terrible. Higher than 8 fantasy points. So if that hits, $20 pays 60. Okay,
right.
20 pays 60. Tatis and Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth. So the pick'ems are fun and simple. And then the drafts are great. Starting at just $3 per draft, whatever sport you're interested in, Major League Baseball, NFL. Of course, the NFL is back. College football. Draft starting at $3. Some of these drafts, the prizes are $300,000 or more. And here's the best part about drafting. You can do auto draft or you can do it yourself. And then they take care of everything. There are no waivers. It's the best and easiest place to play. There are no trades. They set your lineup for you. Check them out. UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code PADSWRAP. That is PADSWRAP. What do you think the lineup looks like tomorrow?
Great question.
You have to play 9 guys.
I think Manny's sitting. I think Bogarts is sitting. I think you're going to see Soto's still out there. I think Soto wants to get the 162 games under his belt. I think Tatis will be out there. I think you'll see like a Zokar. You'll see Batten. You'll see probably Eggy Rosario. You'll probably see Brett Sullivan, Cooper, Kim will be out there. Maybe Carpenter gets a couple at bats. Is he still on this team?
Who the hell knows?
Who starts Sunday now?
I'm starting. It's a bullpen game for me. I'm starting like Scott Barlow.
I'm starting fucking Josh Hader, dude.
Can you imagine? Ask him to get 4 outs to start a game. I think we've seen the last of Hader.
Good.
Tonight. That's my guess.
It was very ironic. I was watching it and he gave up the home run, and I'm thinking to myself, it would just be so fitting to have the night they get to lose this game this way with Josh Hader out there, like. But they didn't. To their credit, they won. Good for them. But,
would you like to see Manny play all 9 positions with his broken elbow on Sunday?
I want to see Manny immediately get flown to whatever doctor he's going to go to get surgery tomorrow.
Right, yeah. Are we going to see Manny these last 2 days?
I mean, there's going to have to be some type of end of the year thing, right?
Yeah, I would. What? You're saying surgery?
No, like talking because I feel like the last time they were here, in San Diego, it was a lot of media's fault, and
right.
I know that, and Manny did talk tonight. Like I think Manny did talk. Let me see here. I know he did speak.
He did tonight? I didn't see any quotes.
You're not looking hard enough, John. Here we go. You want to hear Manny real quick before we bounce?
Yeah, but don't get us fired.
I won't. All right, this is Manny Machado on talking about what needs to change next season. And what do you expect from ownership in terms of roster additions this offseason, I guess?
What does need to change to get to where you want to get to next year?
Play better. That's simple. Same play better. I think ultimately you've seen what we've done this month. We played what we're supposed to do, and we did what we're supposed to do, and it's a little too late, but we just gotta play this baseball every single day. For 6 months and come off strong, from the beginning. And I think that's what everyone in here for these last couple of weeks have been thinking about is, we could have been doing this all year, and we're going to do this next year, and we're going to come back and come back with vengeance. And I think everyone in here is obviously let down by the season, but we know that we're better than this, and we're going to come back next year, and we're going to be a lot better.
What do you think in particular led to the better play this month? Was there specific adjustments that could have been made earlier in the season? Just baseball.
Baseball. I mean, we played better baseball. We played good defense. Our pitching, obviously, was all there, and we got some timely hitting. And ultimately I think the biggest thing is we impacted the game in the middle of the game where we didn't earlier in the year was we didn't get those extra runs off of those pitches that were right on the ropes, kind of struggling a little bit, and we were able to take advantage of those situations and tacked on 3 or 4 runs and give our pitchers a little bit more wiggle room to play with. And I think we should have done that a little bit more throughout the year, and we didn't. And but yeah, I mean, we just played good baseball this last month, and we got to do that for 6 months next year, and we know that.
You mentioned you think most guys will be back. You had a lot of guys you guys are signed long term. Do you expect ownership to go out and do something similar to past off seasons, go out in that big piece? Or do you think you guys?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I think we believe in the guys. I think the front office believes. Peter believes in the team that we have. Obviously that's why they put it together. Obviously it was a letdown for sure. I'm not gonna hide that. But we believe in the guys that we have here. So we're just gonna grow from this. It's a learning experience for all of us, and take it in, take the good, take the bad, and move forward. And, know that we're capable of playing better baseball than we did this year.
Thoughts? It's very Manny. I have no issue with it. I mean, it's Manny.
I know it's Manny. It's baseball. It's fucking baseball.
We'll be better.
We'll be better. It's not that bad. We'll be fine. We're just had an off year. Okay.
Real quick, there's another super that rolled in, but Murray says, serious question, how do I follow the show in the offseason? Vikings are lame. It's going to be a sad 4 months. I'm going to propose something that Jim could immediately shoot down, and I'm doing it live on the wrap-up show.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to doing the Sunday night shows. I like the Sunday night. I feel like people know we're here. Some of our best shows ever in terms of like viewership have been on Sunday nights.
Let me talk to my agent about that.
Yeah, that's fine. His agent is...
My agent's Aaron.
Oh, man.
But we'll do shows during the days. Like...
Yeah, and of course, you can always watch them back on replay for doing them during the day. And listen, if there's any breaking news, like I'm actually supposed to go to Vegas potentially Monday night to see my brother. But for example, if like AJ Preller's fired Monday, then we're going to do a wrap-up show.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's be clear.
We also have John and Jim, like a lot of shit. So
you got John and Jim, but this is year round. Make no mistake, our partners are with us year round. This is year round. We're doing shows, every single week throughout the course of the off season. So we'll figure out the exact plan. But Murray, just subscribe and you'll see when we have new content, whether it's live or on replay. Let me get to this super that rolled in, guys. If you want to contribute to super, now is the time to do it because we're about to get out of here. Padres eliminated from playoff contention tonight despite winning. Niles says, for our last 2 games, and thank you, Niles, I want to see all 8 of our shortstops out there in the infield together all game. They could get, I don't think this team gets cute because they're 80 and 80. There's always cute things you can do in final games. I think they might do a bullpen game on Sunday. That's not overly cute. And I think they may sit some guys over the next 2 days. But I'd be surprised if they did anything stupid like, hey, let's have Fernando Tatis Jr. play every position. I mean, it's not happening with Tatis, but you get my point. That would surprise me if they did anything like overly cute.
Yeah, you're not having Adam Wainwright having it bat.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like the Cardinals did tonight, down 14-2, by the way.
Jeez, they lost 19-2.
They lost 19-2?
19-2.
Because it was 14-2, I think, when he got in the bat.
It was their second worst loss ever to the Reds.
And I saw this in the chat, by the way, earlier on. We were talking about like knee-jerk reactions about a team that's had a good year and then they fall down the stretch. Like, that's the Cubs right now.
Yes, they've collapsed. But they have no expectations. But, it'll be a miserable nightmare in Chicago. And they may knee-jerk their way. I mean, they may have some changes off what's happened here. They've been terrible.
Yeah, dude. You gotta hope that Miami loses the next 2 to Pittsburgh, and then they somehow lose that Mets game on Monday if they have to play it.
Wait, is that what they need? They need 3 losses, 3 wins to get in?
Well, Chicago's a game and a half back. Cincinnati's a game and a half back. But the thing is, the half game is because of the Marlins and the Mets game not becoming a final.
They're done.
Just say that the Marlins win that game.
Yeah.
You're now
so
2 back with 2 to play. Yeah.
Oh, they're done.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Marlins win tonight over Pittsburgh was like
huge,
massive.
Yeah, but if you're the Marlins, dude, you got to beat Pittsburgh the next couple of days. You're not trying to go back to New York.
You have to. That is their main motivation is sweep the Pirates.
Yeah, but hear me out. If they may still have to go back because of seeding, because they're not going to seed them with 6 because of Arizona. They're going to need to do it for seeding if they're within a half game of each
playing
other.
Houston, right? And they lost to Houston tonight, I think.
Did they? So where is it right now? Is Miami like a half game behind Arizona or a game?
They're a game behind Arizona. Half game behind Arizona. Oh,
they may have to go back to New York regardless.
Oh my God.
To finish that off. They probably will. That's so dumb.
Fuck, dude. That's ridiculous.
And then they're either going to Philadelphia or Milwaukee based on whether they're the 5 seed or the 6 seed. I know.
Philadelphia, they're at 89 and 70 right now. Milwaukee,
yeah, they've been amazing.
1 and 69. Who's real quick before we get out of here? Give me your World Series teams coming out of the National League and American League. Just don't. I don't care about.
We do that Sunday night.
I don't care about explanation. Just give me who you think, and we'll give our
Tune
explanation.
in Sunday night.
Tune in Sunday night. Fine, Sunday night we'll do that.
Sunday night.
All
Let's
right.
make some World Series predictions.
We gotta
I'll
figure out-
guarantee you this: it ain't the Padres are not going to win the World Series.
They will not win the World Series. No,
Unfortunately.
No.
Maybe next year.
That
might
motto.
be a bit of a stretch.
That needs to be the motto. Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. They're going to do it with Preller. Man, is Black Monday coming or not? Like, what's Monday going to look like?
I don't think so, unfortunately, and that's pretty bad after the season. I don't feel it.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong.
Here's the deal. If you're here tonight, we're back Sunday night. We will wrap up 2023. We'll make some off-season predictions. We'll make some playoff predictions. We'll look ahead to, is it going to be a Black Monday or not? Join us Sunday night, 9:30 Pacific Standard Time. So please join us. There's a lot to discuss Sunday night. I promise you that. So please do join us Sunday night, and please do subscribe, all right? If you are a baseball fan, if you are a Padres fan, we got a lot of people in here that are baseball fans that are not Padres fans because I think they appreciate our content. So thank you for that. So if you're a baseball fan and you're here and you appreciate what we're doing, please subscribe. Simple as that. We're here for you. And there's been years of us doing this. So thank you guys for hanging out. Smash the like button for us. Padres won. They're 80-80. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. What's that?
They're one win away from becoming a serious baseball team.
You're saying if they finish, because of being over 500.
That's what I said. Did I said that right? I said you have to be over 500 to be a serious baseball team.
So is that what you would use as your excuse? Like, hey, AJ, you missed on the year, but I'm a serious baseball team. We went 82-80.
I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Thank you for the super thanks, by the way. If you're here on replay, we really do appreciate those super thanks that have been rolling in recently. Please support our partners. Like, we can't do this without our viewers, and we can't do this without our partners. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have an insurance need, please contact Mark this offseason. Seriously, he's going to save you a lot of money. He's an amazing guy, a great insurance agent. Take that from us. We have insurance policies through Mark. Click the link in the description down below. Aura, if you're looking to get healthier, plant-based nutritional supplements, they have them for you. Great local company. If you're looking to get healthier, we all are. If you want to support the channel, check them out. ORA.organic, or click the link in the description down below. And Underdog Fantasy, limited time, $500 match on your first deposit. Use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. They have the pick'ems, they have the drafts, NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, MLB postseason, and more. Up to a $500 deposit match. Use promo code PODSWRAP. All right, guys. Not going to be 2023. Hopefully 2024. For Jim, I'm John. We'll see you Sunday night, 9:30. Join us. Wrap-up show.